I don't got no friends. I don't got no friends. You know what I mean? I got supporters, people on my side, and people on the other side.
Welcome to the shift where the whole room blows. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. This you flat, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm like, yo, shine just right. Respect your view even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. This that channel that be talking back, energy attack. Iron sharp as iron, watch the whole league react. Competition in the building, better tighten up your facts. We ain't clones, but we still mirror how you crack under impact. Every debater work hard, spot a weak, rap fast. You live wrong, paradigm shift and break your stance. I'm the judge, the jury, the pen, the contrast. My bars hit always like a quadruple, bottom title shift where the whole room blow. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't all align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. We invite every mind, long as you stand on yours. Walking with respect, leave with open doors. Channel stay lit, views jumping off the boards. STL bounce, yeah, the spy from the source. Competitors, welcome, step up, don't fold. We don't fit pressure, we refine under low. Thoughts heavy, we press them till the truth gets told. Ship so clean, if the platinum even will it's gold. Come through correct, bring your logic and your proof. Speak your truth, just don't run from the truth. We debate with grace, that's the paradigm groove. Flow so smooth, even turbulence move. Welcome to the shift where the whole room go. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Where the whole go. DMG vibe, like a city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' go. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm life, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Welcome to the shift. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Welcome to the shift. If you black, I'm with you, if you black, I'm with you. Welcome to the shift. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. Welcome to the shift. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibe, got the city on low. Put paradigm shift, keep the room for.
Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me. Hey, welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. This is your brother, DMG the Poet, a.k.a. Brother Pianki. And we got a powerful show for the powerful people of Paradigm Shift TV 314. But before I ask my guest to reintroduce herself, allow me to do my spiel. I know y'all all familiar with it. Probably get tired of hearing it, but I got to do it anyway. Let me say God bless to all my Christian brothers and sisters. I want to say Hotep to all my Kemetic brothers and sisters. I want to say Islam to all my Moorish brothers and sisters. Shalom to all my Israelite brothers and sisters. I want to say Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters in the NOI. I want to say peace to all my brothers and sisters in the nation of gods and earth, them 5%ers. I want to say what's up to all my atheist brothers and sisters. Salute to all my Abo brothers and sisters, or Halito, as my sister told me to start saying, to all my Abo brothers and sisters. I almost forgot. I want to say what's up to all my old Waspy brothers and sisters, create a gang gang. I want to say what's up to all my Naga brothers and sisters, salute to King Naga. I want to say what's up to all the rest of my brothers and sisters, or is it Jumbo, to all the rest of my brothers and sisters all throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you're Black, I'm with you. And I hope you with me, as my brother Hemi's song say. That being said, we can't have unity without uniformity. And we can, regardless of what it seems like, we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. With that being said, to my esteemed guest, please reintroduce yourself to the Paradigm Shift TV 314 family.
All right. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Peace to the chat. Peace to the platform. Peace to DMG. It is me. I am Goddess in the Flesh. And listen, I just want to quickly shout out, like for real. Thank you to DMG for creating this space for people like myself to be able to get out here and share thoughts and opinions, point of views, and everything, regardless of what you think, regardless of what you feel or hear about it. Agreement, disagreement, it really doesn't matter. I'm just grateful for the space to be able to come up here and share those thoughts and ideas with the public. I want to shout out to the boardroom, to my guys over there, and shout out to, as I call them, the double Ds, my girl Sunday over there. And, you know, I just wanted to get out here and share some of these thoughts about masculinity, femininity, dig into that and see what type of, you know, paradigms we can shift today. But also, real quick, before I even move forward, Hemi, I love that intro. Y'all killed that intro. Like, I really love that intro. Like, Hemi be jamming. I know everybody say it, but like I be over here like, welcome to the ship. Like, I be all in it. But so yeah, so I'm glad to be here and I'm ready to get into here and into this topic and really dig into this masculinity and femininity. I think is really important, a very important topic. And yeah, so let's see what happens with it.
I had to drop a bomb for you and Hemi. Shout out to the brother. That song, man. Listen, when he sent it to me,
it's so good.
He gonna ask me like, talking about, let me know what you think. I was like, what?
It's perfect.
I was almost offended that he asked me, talking about, let me know what. Man, you knew what I was gonna think.
I feel like it really encompassed everything that I have been able to gather about the paradigm shift. Like, it is so perfect. Yeah, so shout out to him. He really be putting out some good music. I really do be like jamming to his music. So like, you know, shout out to him.
He legit hit every beat with that. But this is about the goddess in the flesh, aka as I call her when she entered the Versus series, the Woman King. We talking about masculinity and femininity and examining that dynamic. So where do you want to start? Will you be sharing your screen, or would you like me to get into some of my my topics or questions?
Well, I'm not going to be sharing my screen. I thought about it, but you know, I just really didn't. I don't know. I didn't have the balance. The life work balance wasn't quite there, so I don't have anything to share with my screen. But I guess before we dive into that, I guess I want to just kind of get into a little bit of why I thought that this was or what prompted me to get to this topic, if that's okay.
Go for it.
And so, like, really, what got me here was my experiences. We just were kind of talking about that a little bit, and I had noticed that whenever I would find myself in sort of a contentious type of situation with a person, whether it was a male or a female, one of the things that I would be called was masculine. And and then it's funny, you even mentioning the Woman King. Somebody else just recently, maybe a day or so ago, was like, yeah, you're being called the Woman King. He even knows you're a man. And I was like, damn, DMG. Damn.
I mean, the whole. So listen, for those who don't know what that title means, the reason she was named the Woman King is because he wanted everybody to understand she was equal to him as it related to running the kingdom. She wasn't no queen, because queens, unless it's not a king, have to be subservient to the king. He wanted everybody to understand, nah, this ain't that. She's a king just like I am, but she's a woman. It ain't had nothing to do with me thinking the sister was masculine. So
thank you for clearing that up, because I was about to write me an angry letter, okay?
Yeah, don't put me in y'all BS.
No, so yeah, that was really just kind of what led me here. And so instead of me being offended by being called masculine, because at first I would kind of like fight with it, like, no, I'm feminine. And I was like, well, I think what am I actually ascribing to? Like, what am I saying that femininity is? What am I saying that masculinity is? Like, is this something that I should be balking at? And so I wanted to get down to like, what are these things? And when I started to look at it for real, I started to realize I tried to look it up biologically. I tried to look it up in all these different ways. And the only thing that I could see was that, most of this is really just coming down to society and what society says. And then I started wondering, are these things actually even like what's beneficial about falling into these roles, or is it more detrimental? Like, so that's why I ended up here. And so, yeah, like, and whenever you're ready to jump into, I have some things that's here, you have some things, we can jump into what you got. Let's see what's up.
Okay, so just some little stuff that I came up with. I just had 7 bullet points. We ain't got to hit all of them. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about the post Kevin Samuels shift. Kevin Samuels left behind a framework that has normalized direct, often harsh conversations about gender expectation, high value metrics for men, and accountability rhetoric for women. After his passing, the conversation obviously didn't disappear. It fractured and multiplied, whether it's influences across YouTube, TikTok, and the conscious community have all adopted pieces of his message, but reshaped them through their own ideological frameworks. What do you think the impact was that brother left, and how has it skewed or put into focus masculinity and femininity, particularly in the community?
Well. Okay, so I always thought, even while he was living, and since he's been passed on, that Kevin Samuels was a widely misunderstood person. I think that because I saw him holding men and women accountable. When there were men with unrealistic expectations of what they should get in return from a woman, as a man, if you didn't meet certain, like you said, that high value, I think that probably caused a lot of chaos across the board. But this high value man and what he deserves, I think that sometimes the wrong person, the right message can fall on the wrong person and do damage. And the right message can fall on the right person and it can multiply, good things. It can become very fruitful. And so I think that the message that he had, it just kind of depended on who it fell on. If it depended on the heart of the person that it fell on. And there were some bad guys out here some bad guys out here who were kind of perverting what I think his intention was behind what he was saying. And I think that there was maybe some women who were probably a little bit pricked by some of the truth that he would tell about what their expectations should be with what they were saying that they were just offering. Because, I think that there are some women who think that just them being simply a woman is good enough to get everything that they want. And maybe that is from somebody, for somebody. Somebody will ascribe to that. But then, I just think that, right now there's I don't think that the balance that he was trying to get out, I think that's been off a lot of people. I think a lot of people miss that there needs to be some balance there.
I agree. And so I watched the brother from the beginning. Like the brother, at first he was like a sassy fashion reviewer and cologne reviewer and all of that. And I don't know if the brother got a stylist or a publicist or both, but he switched up his style in terms of his appearance. And switched up his talking. He stopped doing the cologne reviews because like his cologne reviews were hella say. He'd be like, hey, this is such and such cologne. And then all of a sudden he was this well-dressed man, sitting at a desk, and I was like, that's
looking very executive-like.
Hey, the rebrand was epic. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
But because how I came across him when he was doing, I'm a cologne connoisseur, so I'm always looking for the next, big fragrance for men, so to speak. And so I enjoy smelling a particular way, and so that's how I ran across him. So then a few months later, maybe even a year, when I seen him, I was like, man, brother looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out where I seen him. And then my sister, she was like, yeah, he used to do cologne reviews and he this and that. And I was like, that's old boy. It tripped me. So shout out to him for the rebrand.
He straightened up. He wasn't as sassy no more, so you couldn't recognize him.
Yeah, he was super masculine. But if you ever see them cologne reviews, the brother he had the joint going, like the strap bag going across his, the whole demo. I was like, okay. The lining wasn't crisp or nothing, but shout out to the rebrand.
Shout out to the rebrand.
But I did enjoy a lot of his content. In particular, I remember he had a sister, and shout out to that sister. But the sister she wasn't what we would call a dime. Mm-hmm. She wasn't bad looking, but she wasn't what you would call a dime. But she said she made over $100,000 a year, and so she wanted a man that made that or more. Mm-hmm. And one of the funniest things to me was she got in her feelings because he told her, why would a man making $100,000 or more $1,000 a year want to get with you? And he was like, he can get almost any woman he wants that, from an appearance standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, would bring more to the table than you. And he can afford to do whatever for them they required. Whereas, so what would be his incentive to get with you? And she went down the line about how she ain't had time to build a brother up, or because he asked her, well, what if a brother has the potential to become what you think he would need to be? He a good brother. He make an honest living. He not where you at financially, but he has that potential. And he even got like a plan to get there. He just may need a little extra push or motivation or, some backing, whatever the case. Why wouldn't you focus on a brother like that if he was actually showing you that he cared for you and was devoted to you? Mm-hmm. And her thing was the money. And so he basically eviscerated her. And I was like, now he get a lot of criticism for the things he say and do towards women, but I felt like she asked for that because she wasn't making a lot of sense. Because when we think about it, why would a man that made $100,000+ a year want to get with her in particular? Mm-hmm. He make $100,000 plus, so he don't need your $100,000. You're not a woman who look a particular way for a man to say, damn, she bad. So it was an interesting dialogue, and the fact that she got offended and so many other women got offended behind that, it just showed me that when we give honest critiques, it's always going to be a hit dog that holler, or as I say, the streets going to always need a body. It's always going to have to be somebody to blame, somebody to say that's not fair treatment or whatever. And shout out to my sister Quinn. It's not about forcing her to settle. It's about forcing her to face reality. Because if a man making the same amount as you, if he not checking for you, it's because he don't need your money. And let's just be honest, it's better looking options for him. So she don't never have to settle, but she do have to face reality, just like a man in the opposite position would have to face the reality of his circumstances. I don't make $100,000 a year with my 9 to 5 and 2 businesses, but I've been in the orbit of women who make a lot of money. And so, and if I wanted to interact with them a particular way, I can, but it ain't based on my finances. It's based on how I afford myself around them and what they looking for in a particular setting. So I think we just have to face reality as human beings and understand, just because you make a certain amount of money don't mean that men who make that type of money gonna be checking for you. Right. And men have to understand that, hey, if I'm not making a particular amount of money, I can't go get the Halle Berrys and Beyoncés of the world. To me, it's just about facing reality sometimes. And then you have situations where none of that is gonna matter because people want who they want. The heart wants what the heart wants. But tap in, sis, because I don't want to keep.
Oh no, you're fine. Okay. So I was thinking, like, while you were talking, the question, like, it sort of came to my mind, like, okay, so are you saying that when a man has enough money that it buys him the right to get the woman that looks the way he wants her to look, and then not also paying attention to the content of her?
It don't. Nobody has a right to anything. It affords him the ability to be opened up to more options than he would otherwise. Nobody has a right to do anything that the other person isn't consenting to. So your money don't give you the right to be in anybody's orbit, but money does afford you the opportunity to be in spaces that other people wouldn't necessarily be in.
Right. So a man who has more money, a woman who probably he might otherwise think is out of his league, he might be able to like flash a coin a little bit and then get her attention. But wouldn't that be like the exact opposite of what men generally say that they want? Like they say they don't want a woman who just thinks that she looks good and therefore is entitled or anything to the accountability piece. Thinking that she...
You know who say that, though?
Who that?
Men that ain't got money. Men
who ain't got no money. You know? And then I'm like, also like, you can't never have too much money because I would be, without telling all my business, I'm a woman who I have more money than some people, you know? And so if the money, I don't lead with money, but at the same time, I'm just like, I've been in the spaces where I understand that a man may not have the amount as me. He might not have what matching or more. More is highly unlikely. Matching is unlikely. And so, you know, I'm not oblivious to like the norms, you know, the general American population and what goes on in the general American population financially. But a woman, I'm pretty sure that woman that you're talking about, much like myself, has already gone through the channels of, you know, trying to date men who are potential, you know, not potential, they're unpotential, they ain't quite there yet. But and trying to see, you know, doing all the things to try to support them in the direction that they say they want to go. And usually that's not really what works. Like, they just, because to the idea of masculinity and femininity, being a earner, a provider, is something that is considered masculine. So when you're in a situation with a man who doesn't earn as much as you, then, and he already sees you as more masculine because you earn more, and then you have to examine, how does she earn the money? Because I've been called masculine because I own a business, you know? And like, I've literally been called masculine because I own a business.
In 2025, that's crazy though.
Ain't it crazy? It's really crazy. And I've had a man tell me that I needed to sign my business over to him if we were to get married, because he needs to be the one who's running everything as the man. And I'm like, whoa.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was talking to a brother at the 9 to 5, and he was saying that his woman can't make more than him under any circumstances. Yeah. So imagine, and he a young brother, so imagine me telling him, hey, since you was 3 years old, my wife been making more money than me. So I've been married 28 years. I've been with my wife since I was 17. I'm 49 now. Since I was 23, maybe 24, she's always made more money than me. Now, as we got older and we started having more kids and we looked at our financial situation, it was time for her to go back to school, because she had certain skills, but she didn't have the paperwork to back it up. Right. And I was fully behind that. She got her bachelor's, master's. She's working on her doctorate now, but shout out to her. Last company she worked for, she was vice president of IT security and compliance. She was making almost $300,000 a year. Now here I am, barely making 80. You feel me? But I ain't never not been the man in my house as it relates to, if somebody break down our door, it ain't gonna be her, it ain't gonna be my daughters, and it ain't gonna be my son. They're gonna have to deal with me. Now, if they get past me, so be it. But as it relates to protecting and providing, with all the money she was making, when the bill was due, I got the text to hit the link and pay it. And that's just our dynamic. When it comes to making decisions about what's gonna go on in our house, we sit down and we have a conversation. That's just our dynamic. So it always puzzled me when a brother insists on being the breadwinner. And I feel like my wife ain't never thrown up in my face how much more she make. And, you know, I'm open about the fact that I've dealt with I deal with mental illness. I have bipolar 2 disorder. So before I had it under control, and I hate to use the word under control, but before I was dealing with it the way I need to. Managed it? There you go. Before I was managing it, my decision-making was horrendous. If I went, I love jewelry. If I went to the mall, I was going to easily spend $500, $600 on jewelry, whether I had it to spend or not. And just irresponsible to the max. And then I'm turning around the $500 I spent. I'm now trying to sell that because I haven't met my obligations in terms of my bills. So I went through the wildly irresponsible phase that was compounded by my mental illness. And we still never had a conversation about, I make this and I make that, because she knew it wasn't about that per se. It was about me eventually having to get to the point where I managed my illness the way I was supposed to. Right. And, you know, we start hearing horror stories about men who would buy racehorses and all kinds of stuff under the influence of their mental illness. And so she kind of understood that. And so it's always puzzling to me when I see individuals, men in particular, who feel like if they don't make the higher amount of money, they can't be the man in their house, because I've been doing it for 30 years.
So
In
what do
contrast,
you go sorry, go ahead.
last point. In contrast, it always puzzled me when a woman is making the money and she kind of maligns her husband or her man because he's not because he don't take care of the business he's supposed to take care of, but just because he don't make as much or more than her. Because you have that dynamic too.
Right.
What's your position? But you had something to say, and then I want to know what your position is on that dynamic of the breadwinner and how that defines the dynamic in couples.
So, well, the question that I was going to ask actually still goes with the contrary, on the contrary. Okay. So, and I was going to ask, what do you think is in that personality type that is in the man or the woman, the man who feels like he has to be the breadwinner in order to feel like a man, and the woman who is the breadwinner but emasculates the man because of the fact that she's the breadwinner. I was going to ask that, but do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer the question that you asked first?
I'll answer that.
Okay.
Now, repeat the first part about the man, though.
So what do you think is what do you think is going on in the personality of the man that makes him feel like his masculinity is in jeopardy because he doesn't make? I mean, he cannot feel like he's the man he needs to be or whatever if he's not the breadwinner.
I think it's in part tradition. His father, his grandfather, his uncles, somebody who was an example for him of what a man should be did that and instilled in him that that's what he has to do in order to maintain his manhood, in order to maintain control. Because what I find is a lot of the times with brothers is that money is a system of control. If I don't make more money than her, I can't dictate to her the way I need to dictate to her in order to control this situation, the way I need to control this situation in order for my self-esteem to be what I need it to be in order for us to move forward. And I know that was a mouthful, but that's exactly what it ended up being. You can control somebody when you make majority of the money. And so I can dictate to her how she move and how she don't move if I'm paying her car note. You know what I mean? If she like having, certain designer bags, fur coats, etc., because her friends got them, I can dictate to her because I'm providing that. But if she can get it herself, I can't dictate nothing. Now I gotta really be who I am, and I gotta push things forward. I got the sex gotta hit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? My hygiene gotta be on point. Like I gotta do things that I may be too lazy to otherwise do because I don't have the finances to cover that up. Or to superimpose, like my personality flaws that would make me less attractive, I can't superimpose my money over that if she make more. So I think it's a tradition thing because that's what's been instilled, and then it's also a control thing.
Yes, I agree. I think that for the man, and I think that also for the woman who does the emasculating thing, there's a desire to control and feel, take away from another person to make yourself feel bigger, make yourself feel like you have more substance, more control because you're controlling somebody else. But the reality is that you are not in control of yourself. And you have not done the things within yourself and for yourself in order to actually have that rulership. And so, but to the point that you were making, I think also that women, on the flip side, I can even use myself, but women in general, I think would agree that that with money being a thing, like, and us understanding that historically, traditionally, men having control of the money was also control of the being. And so us being in a position where we can earn now and in many cases earn more than our counterpart, then it relieves us of that potential threat of being abused in that way. And so we like to know that we have the income so that can't be used as something to justify why you are not being or upholding the character traits and the attributes that you should as her person.
Yeah,
and so, yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And again, I think men have to get accustomed, particularly black men, got to get accustomed to doing the work on themselves. See, it's easy to address what you think are shortcomings in your woman while you hiding and pretending not to have the shortcomings that you know for a fact you got. So I think if men start doing it, see, I got married young, and me and my wife both used to think like, man, we started having kids in our teens, and we got married young, and man, if we had it to do all over, maybe we would have waited. And I'd be like, nah, I wouldn't have waited, because if we'd have waited, your ass wouldn't have married me, because I was a mess. And so, but I ended up having to do some work in order to maintain the relationship. And I think I feel blessed in that I know for a 100% fact, my wife is the best thing that ever happened to me. It's a fact. Her and my grandmother were everything as far as pushing me out of a particular mind state that's been detrimental to black men since the late 1960s, in terms of the drug game and that vicious cycle that we end up getting into, whether we doing the drugs or we trying to hustle the drugs, which is, I was trying to do the latter. And the unconditional love that they both showed me helped me get out of that mentality at a young age, whereas I saw a lot of people lose their life, lose their freedom, and things of that nature that didn't have that light bulb moment. I tell people this story all the time. At 16, she told me, hey, you can't do this if you're gonna be with me. We got kids. Like, you're gonna get killed, you're gonna go to jail, we might be with you. Like, you gotta get a job. Right. And here I am in a neighborhood where me pulling out a few rolls of money, all the girls in the neighborhood thought that was cute. But here she is telling me, a girl I didn't like since second grade, and finally got a kid with her, and she telling me, nah, you gotta stop, you gotta get a job. 2 weeks later, I'm working at Hardee's, because that's how bad I wanted to be with her. And she held me accountable. And I think that's really all women gotta do. See, if you want to vet a man, if you want to know if a man's serious about you, here's one thing, and I know a lot of people ain't gonna like this, but I'm just telling y'all, this girl made me wait a calendar year, where every other girl I stepped to, it happened that day. It's the mid 1990s. I'm not exaggerating. And next thing, she making me wait first months, and then now a year that went past before I had the ultimate respect. But not only that, she made me accountable in other ways. Like I said, the whole drug dealing thing that I thought would make me more attractive because I had a little bread, I had some clothes, I had a little whip. She wasn't with that. And if you want to vet a man, keep him accountable. If sex is all that's on his mind, he ain't gonna wait. He gonna go elsewhere. But if he really into you, if you really worth it to him, he'll wait. Now, I ain't telling you, ladies, if you want to get your boogie on, get your boogie on. What I'm saying is, if you want to know if a man's serious about you, hold out. As long as you can.
And that 3-month rule is out of there. Get rid of that 3-month rule, because they have adjusted. They adapt, y'all.
Exactly. I ain't even on the Steve Harvey joint. I'm saying wait as long as you can.
As long
But
as you can.
just let him know that if he want it, he got to earn it. And I ain't talking about with money, because anybody can go pay for some. I'm talking about if he really want it, if it's worth it to him, he will wait. If you vet a man, you will find out if he really into you, if he really want to invest in you, if he really want to spend some time with you. And you can vet him by, one, not giving it up right away, but by two, holding him accountable.
Yes.
If he, hey, Timothy, they can call me a simp all they want to. I got a woman.
Shout out Timothy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Shout out to my man. Happy birthday to Timothy.
Happy birthday.
But hey, dudes that ain't got a woman or ain't got the respect of the woman they got can call me a simp, because I got all of it.
That's
so
right.
and it's nothing to demonstrate it. So they can call me a simp, but I'm gonna call them womanless or respectless. So, but my point is, it's several ways you can vet a man to see if he really invested in being with you. And how you go about doing that is just by finding out what his interests are. If he drink a little too much, see if he'll stop for you. See if he'll try to stop for you. If he gamble, like it's several ways to see how important a man is to you. If he overweight to the point where it's hard for my boy to breathe, see if he'll start eating healthier at your suggestion. It's a lot of ways you can vet a man to see if he interested in you, because the things that he doing that he like to do, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, and you shouldn't ask him to do something, stop doing something that's healthy, but whether it's a health situation or a financial situation or a sex situation, vet him and see how invested he is in being with you. It's simple as that. A man gonna make adjustments for what he want. Period.
I agree with that for sure. So, like, listening to you, like, would you say like some of the differences between you, which I apparently are a man who somebody would call a simp, or who has possibly been called a simp? I know that is something that Timothy has said, that people like him get called simp, but he's been married for X amount of years, like you said. And let me just say, I absolutely love when y'all talk about how happily married y'all are to y'all's wives, and like how y'all have been impacted and changed by them. Yeah, so with that being said, and y'all being able to be in these relationships and, like you said, make the adjustments, would y'all say that, like, what, I know that you mentioned some things about discipline. I took that from you saying about the getting healthier, getting in shape, and doing the things that you need to do to make yourself better, accountability. And so when she was telling you the things that really necessarily didn't, that you obviously weren't on, and she's like, hey, that can't exist like this anymore, and holding you accountable to the actions that would be detrimental to you, and y'all, those are, like, what other things would you say are the difference between you and these guys who would call y'all simps?
The difference is accountability. So I'm accountable for the fact that I've done things in my marriage that I'm not proud of. I've also made sure that I won't revisit those things ever again. Anything I've ever done that hurt my wife, broke her heart in any way, I'm man enough to say, I did them, I own it, I'm sorry, and that will never happen again. As opposed to, I didn't do it, or I did it because you wouldn't do an X, Y, Z. No, you just gotta be, as a man, to me, and it's been my experience that regardless of how you look, regardless of what kind of shape you in, regardless of how much money you got, the most attractive thing a man can do is be honest and accountable.
Yes, honesty.
If you're not honest, then or accountable, then what we doing? Because the cream gonna rise to the top, and she gonna find out you a fraud one way or another.
One way.
So but I had to learn that my wife and I went through a period of separation for almost a year. And one of her prerequisites for getting back together was, hey, something going on mentally. And it been going on for a while. Since you was about 21 years old, you got to get that figured out if we're going to move forward. Turn up furniture, yelling and screaming to the top of your lungs. And I thank God every day I never put my hands on it, but I did some things that I'm not proud of.
A little scary.
Yeah, absolutely. My cousin, he say all the time, like there were times where I thought you was going to hit her or hit me. And, and so the grace of God is amazing in that light, because I have heard horror stories where it went in a different direction. But I had to own that and say, all right, let me figure this out. And when I went through the process of getting diagnosed, I was so ashamed. I didn't want to tell her. And so I told my sister and my cousin, who like my brother, first. And when my cousin was like, oh, that makes sense now. Because this was somebody I would go out with. Every time we went out, I'd get into a fight. Because, of course, we didn't know alcohol, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it exacerbates the situation. And so here we is drinking fifths and then going out. And so all of it, when he said it makes sense, and then my sister was like, okay. And then my grandmother was like, okay. And then everybody was just kind of like accepting. I was like,
yeah, it just kind of clicked for him and it made sense.
Yeah. So then when I told her, and I'll never forget this, she was kind of nonchalant about it. And she was like, I'm glad we got that figured out. And I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, did you hear what I said? Like I got, they said it's bipolar 2 disorder, and I got to take medication. I got to get monitored. I got to get blood work. I got to do all this stuff to stay on top of it. And she was like, yeah, we know what it is, and we going to deal with it. And I was like, what? But my ability to finally be honest with her and deal with that issue was all she needed to hear.
Yeah.
Once she heard it, she was like, okay, we're going to deal with it.
Right.
And I'm waiting for her to be like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. That's crazy. You got what? And this. And it was as simple as that, because all she needed to know was I'm being honest and accountable with that situation. And so from that, I was 31 when that happened. From that day forward, I don't care what it is. Hey, it been one of them weeks. I ain't got the bread. Like we short. I don't know what we gonna do to get this right, but I'm short, and I ain't gonna be back whole for another week or so. I need you to kick in, and she kick in instead of me knowing that I'm short and waiting till the last minute till something can't be paid. And then, hey, I need you to kick in. I'm steady telling her I got it, and I know I don't. So it's all about being transparent, being open and honest, and making whatever adjustments you got to make. Because the thing is, I'm in a marriage, so ain't no me, ain't no her, it's us. And I think every relationship, marriage ain't for some people, and some people tell you they ain't trying to get married. I always say if me and her don't work out, I'll never get married again. She seemed to think I will, but I don't think so. But I think even when you are in a relationship and you aspiring for marriage, a man being accountable and being open and honest is the most attractive thing he can do for a sister. Because what men have to come to terms with, and this is just my opinion, is sisters in particular have been through the ringer. In other words, you got a sister who dated a guy, had his kid, and all of a sudden, my man flipped the switch. He might start knocking her upside her head. He might start cheating on her with mad females. He might not want to help pay no bills. Or it could be all of the above.
Yeah. So
then that sister get out of that situation, and then she want to give another brother a chance, but he cheat too. Mm-hmm. Or he ain't accountable when it comes to his bread. Or he knock her upside her head. Either way it go, he trigger her because not only because of what he doing, but because what she done already had to endure from somebody else. And now she thinking, damn, I endured that with him. I opened my heart to you, and now you doing something similar. But she get out of that situation and she give another brother a chance.
Right.
And he go down the same track. By the time she get to the sixth brother, he looking at her sideways because she done been in this relationship, that relationship, and that relationship, because men got a problem with how many relationships or quote unquote bodies females
How many bodies is body count talk?
You feel me? So he already looking at that. She might have 1 or 2 baby daddies. So he already feeling a way about that. But let's say he an evolved Negro and he ain't tripping. But he gotta now, if he gonna be with her and he gonna commit to her, he has to understand what she's endured in these past situations. So if baby daddy split and was never heard from again, he gotta make her understand that ain't what he gonna do. If she let him meet her kids, if homeboy knocked her upside the head and she get triggered when he yell a particular way when they having an argument, if he invested in her, if he want to be with her, if she worked it to him, he got to deal with that. Because while it ain't his fault and it ain't his doing, that's what she's had to endure. So when you raise your voice a certain octave and she get triggered because homeboy that slapped her raised his voice to that same octave, even if you know you ain't finna do that, if you invested in being with her, you got to deal with her and understand, let her know you ain't dealing with that no more, ma. So it's a lot of things that when men deal with sisters, they got to be accountable to the fact that other men have messed up. And if you're going to show this sister who probably got PTSD from these experiences, that you not him, and you got to display a level of patience if she worth it. Now, if she ain't worth it to you, cut out and bail. But now you just added to her trauma. You shouldn't even wasted her time. Yeah. Because the fact that she's still willing to get out there is commendable. So when we deal with masculine and feminine issues, what's more masculine? Because I see stepfathers get shamed all the time, but what's more masculine than one man coming to clean up another man's mess? Or one man coming in and saying, I know you got a daddy that's active, but I'm here to be a backup to him because I love and want to be with your mama. What's more masculine than that? Because that take a lot of confidence to stick your chest out and say, I'm your man, even though I know he here and he active with his kids and he gonna be around, I'm still gonna be here too because I think you worth it. Is that masculine or is that the opposite of masculine? Because I see a lot of talking points about stepfathers not being something that you should aspire to be. But I don't think it's anything more manly than being a stepfather, whether it's stepping into absent shoes or whether it's being a backup to an active father, because you love that woman, and by virtue of loving that woman, you love her kids. Right. But I know I'm going down rabbit holes. So
no, you're fine. You actually are kind of going in the direction that I like wanted to go in, because as you're talking, I'm just kind of like listing some things about because I was going to go through these ideas of what these character traits of what a female or femininity is, or characteristics of what a masculine man is, you know. And so like just listening to you, I heard things like I said, discipline, I heard accountability, I heard honesty, self-awareness, mental mental health, like, so just kind of taking care of yourself, humility and humbleness, transparency, wholeness, being progressed or evolved, understanding, confident, being a team player. That's where you just kind of were. And those are things that I think are masculine. But then you have some of the places that I looked, I saw some things that were saying, you know, like being, some people think that being masculine is being aggressive. Being masculine is being the biggest, loudest nigga in the room. You know, being the one who makes the most money makes you the most masculine. Being, you know, sort of cold and not understanding toward others, especially the woman that you're dealing with. Not being vulnerable. You had to display vulnerability in order for you to even go to the person who was going to be ultimately diagnosing you with something, and then taking that and having to go and put yourself in front of others and say, this is what's going on with me. You know, being vulnerable in that situation. So, but some people say, you know, they balk at being vulnerable. They don't want you to see that they're not whole. You know, so I don't even know how a woman is supposed to come in and help you. Like when someone says that they have potential, oftentimes a woman will see the pain, the anger, all the things. They'll see that your mind ain't all the way right, but they'll also still come in and wrap their arms around and try to love on that person, which ultimately ends up probably getting them hurt in some type of way, which leads to things like what you just mentioned, like being triggered, being scorned, the victimization of a woman, amongst all types of other things. And so when you look at femininity, a lot of times the woman is sort of anxious, full of anxiety because she's been through all of this stuff. You mentioned PTSD. And so all of these negative attributes are kind of put onto a woman because of the things that she's displaying, when in reality, I honestly think that a lot of the things that you listed for you being a masculine man are a lot of the things that a whole woman would also would align with her, would resonate with her. But instead, it's the triggered, it's the scorned, it's the victimization, it's the codependency, it's all of the, what else? Having poor boundaries, or at least the assumption that you have poor boundaries. All of those different things or whatever that are associated with women. And so I was just kind of curious about, like, what are some of the, like when you say like coming in and dealing with all of that, like, even, I mean, if it's okay to kind of even talk about it, but like, what are the ways that you would say that, even in your situation where, I know that you said that your wife did a lot to help you improve, but maybe, I don't know how to ask this without feeling like I'm overstepping my boundaries.
Ask away, sister. I'm an open book.
Well, it's not about you. It's like about your wife, though. So
right,
and
listen, I will say she says I do overly share, but my point to her is, if I'm doing it in a constructive way, by like trying to show brothers how to be more open and honest in relationships, or showing young men how to be, you know, more open and honest in relationships, then it's not just for me to stick my chest out and say, look what I did. It's more so that I can give a blueprint to brothers who may be struggling in that situation, or maybe struggling with their mental health and don't know how to go about pushing to get help, or a woman for that matter. So I'm not doing it so y'all can pat me on my back, because I can reach it my damn self. But I'm doing it so I want Black people to get more comfortable talking about mental illness, talking about relationships and how to seek help that will help you improve said relationship. So yeah, I'm ask away, and if it's too invasive,
you can just tell. I guess what I want to know is, and you don't even have to be personal about it. You can talk about somebody else, some imaginary person, or somebody that you know. Like when it comes to a woman, like what are some of the traits that you think are, I don't know, like what are some of the traits that you would say that a feminine woman possesses? I'll just say that.
Well, I think that we sometimes, as men anyway, we get this misguided notion of what a woman should and shouldn't be, whether it's in terms of being feminine, a lot of I want her to submit to me, and all these different things.
That is one.
I think the most feminine thing a woman can do for me is to be genuine. I don't, she ain't gotta be the sexiest or the most beautiful, even though I think my wife is the sexiest woman in the world and the most beautiful thing I've ever laid eyes on. You don't have to be that, or just being genuine can make you that. And so, because I think femininity is a constant pull between empowerment and expectation, especially for Black women. Like within Black spaces, femininity is constantly being reimagined. You got the soft moments. You got spiritual femininity rooted in different spiritual traditions and things like that. But you have women who are reclaiming like emotional security and safety and learning to set boundaries and expectations and discovering their voice and self-worth. So femininity can be a lot of different things, but for me, it's mostly being genuine. If you genuine with me, I'm gonna be genuine with you. And from the time I met her in second grade till right now today, 30, 40 years later, my wife has always been genuine. She has never ceased to be herself. Now you have ebbs and flows to that. She quick to tell anybody she not the teenage girl who had a baby and was ridiculed by people, and she took that ridicule, and even though she refused to be a statistic and she wouldn't, she did have to endure a lot of the whispers and the criticisms, and she'll tell you in a minute, she ain't dealing with that no more. But at the same time, that core genuineness that she's always had, she got it. It's just, you can't play with her like you may have been able to play with her when she was a teenager and in her early 20s. And that includes me. The things I did leaving my house on a Friday night and not coming home to 12 on a Sunday, I can't get that off no more. Like, if I leave on Friday and don't come home to Sunday, I'm gonna come home to my stuff being on the porch. Because she's evolved and matured as a person. She's learned to set expectations for what it is she expects and how she expects to be treated. So I think femininity is for Black women in particular, is a constant push and pull between empowerment and expectation, whether it's expectations of themselves as women or expectations from their man, their family, because a lot of women are, Black women anyway, are second generation or next generation matriarchs in their family. Hey, Michelle, you supposed to be my sister now. You can't be helping her pack my stuff. Don't come on now. What you doing? You're supposed to be telling her to give me another chance. Shout out to the best moderator, on YouTube, Michelle Turns in the building. Appreciate all y'all for watching. Shout out to the Woman King, aka the Goddess in the Flesh, Amira, for chopping it up with me. But I think y'all constantly in a push and pull between empowerment, expectations, and dare I say evolution, because I think it, just like with my wife, it was things I could get away with when we was younger and we were finding out who we were that I can't get away with now, because she's evolved into a woman who, while still genuine, still sensitive, still caring and loving and all of that, she's not going to put up with the same BS she did 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie. I tell her this all the time. She is probably more sexy, more beautiful, more everything than she's ever been at 40. For what am I, 49 at 47 years old? So I think it's all about, part of it is perspective too, from a male perspective, because men are constantly tussling between discipline and dominance. In most spaces, Black masculinity is being negotiated between those two poles. Constructive masculinity with the focus on responsibility, provision, emotional regulation, reclaiming positive leadership and family roles. Men dealing with trauma, socialization, and economic pressure. But then you have the reactive, performative masculinity, the echo chambers and promoting dominance and entitlement and grievance, anti-feminist rhetoric, and healing, quote unquote, healing the Black community through dominance. And in a lot of conscious circles, misogyny is superimposed over cultural and spiritual doctrine, whether it's our Israelite brothers, our Islamic brothers, or even our quote unquote conscious brothers, because the conflict is between what I would say is growth-based masculinity and wounded masculinity.
Yes.
And so it's whenever you wound somebody, whether if you wound an animal, if you wound a human being, it's a reaction to being wounded. And I think instead of men being able to look in the mirror when things don't work out, when their heart get broken by a female, they superimpose what that one female did over every female they encounter. It's kind of like the movie Hitch. My man with Will Smith, my man was like a geeky nerd dude, and then this girl broke his heart, and all of a sudden he started, dressing a particular way and affording himself in a particular way that allowed him to deal with women while isolating himself from them emotionally. And that's what a lot of us do. We deal with the wounded masculinity and we embrace that, but we don't want to deal with the other end of the spectrum, which would be a more cohesive masculinity in terms of being growth-based. And that's what I try to focus on. I'm a man all day long, but I'm also trying to grow. I'm trying to teach my son how to grow as a man. My father told me when he met my wife, before we was married, he was like, "That's a good girl. Keep her. Keep her right over here. But you always keep you a few over here." Oh. This came from my father. And so it was incumbent upon me to break that cycle when it came to my son. So I tell my son all the time, man, get you a good girl like your mom. And that's who you bring home. I say, don't be afraid to, if you go through life having only experienced one female, if she's the female, don't feel a way about that. It's not, see, we love to emphasize getting as many females as we can, but then we shun a female for getting as many men as they have. Like,
make it make sense.
That's a negative check on her resume for her, but for us, it's a source of a
rite of passage almost we were talking about.
Yeah. It's a source of acclaim. When you say a man got a high body count, that's a positive. When you say a woman got a high body count, that's a negative. And we come up with all kinds of ways to justify why we feel that way. But what it really comes down to is we want to put our woman up on a pedestal. We want to strip away her humanity and make her into this idol that we can keep over here, brag about, talk about, and point to as a source of our greatness. And so we strip away her humanity. How dare she have slept with another man besides me? Is she like, no, I can't put that up on a pedestal if she been with somebody besides me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't praise her if another man been inside of her.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh my God, another man, she orgasmed with another man. I'm not the end all be all to her because we done stripped away her humanity. We want to strip away her humanity while yelling that we only human the whole time. It's crazy. Yeah. So I think I put a lot of the onus on men because I think we force women to be uber responsible, while at the same time taking the onus on us, taking that away from us. All we got to do is show up, and then we let her do all the heavy lifting in terms of an emotional relationship.
Right.
We want her to do all the heavy lifting. We want her to be the sensitive one and the loving one and the caring one and the responsible one. And we want her to do all these things that we not willing to do.
And then do it by herself. Exactly.
Yeah. We want her to carry the thing until, see, it's a difference between what you carry and what you live. See, you carry burdens. You lift weights. Weights help you develop muscle and get to a healthier place. A burden just weigh you down until you break. And we don't mind being a burden to a woman until she figure out she can't take it no more. When she straighten her back up and decide she ain't carrying you no more, then we feel away. Right. Because we done brainwashed ourselves into thinking that's what she's supposed to do.
Right.
And for some of us, the light bulb go off, and some of us it don't. Right. And you in the back chat, you see how reckless men talk to women. When I was growing up, it was a certain way to talk to certain women. Certain women garnered a level of respect where you had to come at them a particular way. That's gone. That's gone. And I get it, but I don't get it. Because these Negroes are curse a sister out and then be in her inbox trying to holler at her within a few hours. Literally. It's crazy to me. So, and it could just be that I'm too old for these spaces, but then I be finding out this cat's older than me. or right around my same age. So I don't know what it is about the environment we in today or what changed where men want to put all the onus in relationships and even in male-female interactions on the female.
So I was thinking about that, and I wonder. First of all, I was going to say that a lot of the things that you're describing, the way that all of this about the woman, those people that you were just talking about that get to cussing you out in the back chat, them ones. Like those are the ones who shout out that the woman who has the expectation, the one who has empowered herself, the one who has the requirements and the boundaries and all of the things, she gets called masculine. I'm one of them. Like gets called masculine for having those attributes. But then that leads me to this space where I was like, well, it's interesting because a lot of the things, like, is it masculine? Because I feel like a lot of me being the way that I am has to do with the fact that I was born to and raised by both of my parents, but definitely very influenced by my dad. And he has expectations and the way that he has watching him and how he has interacted with my mom. And even if my mom gave him every reason in the book to go off, he wasn't doing it. If he had like it's so when I get met with some of the emotional outbursts or get met with some of the hostility that comes with things that I think is just normal things, like you said, holding somebody accountable, expecting truthfulness, expecting these things, and I'm met with hostility because of it. And then I'm like, well, I've definitely seen a man take way more than something like that before he flies off the handle. I ain't never seen my daddy fly off the handle and go crazy and go nuts on anybody, much less my mom. And then seeing him be also a man who has a lot of respect, not just for himself, but that's the way he raised us. And then other people respects him as well in the community. And so I wonder if that even plays a part, because I don't think anybody talks about, like, we know like the damage that happens from a man not being in the home and helping with molding and shaping, or even if that man is present, he's not, like, he might, I mean, I'm not, no disrespect, all due respect to your father, but he did give a little bit of shaky advice that he gave you. One half of it was good, and then the other half was like, hold on, Pop, and so, like, but me, like, being raised by a father who gave me standards and expectations for myself and then for others, like, nobody talks about the sort of issues that type of woman would run into with men. Like, because I would be more likely to my expectations are just totally different. And so, well, I'm not going to say totally different, but I have different expectations. Some things that some women had to grow up and learn and maybe go to therapy to find out about. My dad was raising us this way, And so I think that when I'm out and I'm talking to other people, other men, or not other men, but talking to men, then having the expectations and the standards is what actually get me called masculine. And then because I'm being called masculine, then I'm being treated like a man, which is with aggression and hostility and all the other things. And so,
I think, well, I salute to your pops. And I think that part of the reason, I don't know him, but I know for myself, part of the reason why I tried not to fly off the handle when it came to my wife was I didn't want my daughters to believe that's how men are supposed to talk to them, treat them, etc. And so I have 4 daughters. 2 of them grown with their own kids and 2 of them still in the house. But I never wanted them to see me treat their mother in a way that would influence how they thought they were supposed to be treated. So even when me and my wife would have an argument in front of them, I found myself having a conversation with them and letting them know, hey, I lost my temper. Don't ever think that you're supposed to subject yourself to a man yelling at you or screaming at you. Even if you lose your temper with him, it should only go to a particular level. It shouldn't get to a point where y'all disrespecting each other. And that's just me being cognizant of sometimes, like my oldest daughter, her first boyfriend acted just like me. Like, it was unsettling how much this little dude acted like me. Mm-hmm. To the point where I really liked him. Our birthdays was like 2 days apart. His birthday was like October 12th, mine October 14th. I really liked him, but I couldn't stand that my daughter was dating. It was the weirdest dichotomy. But he acted so much like me that I knew how it was going to end. And it didn't make no difference how much I told her. But I was like, listen, he can't be faithful to you at 18 years old, because she had that expectation. And I was like, listen, date him if you want to. But if you have an expectation that he's only dating you, you are wrong. He can't. He is incapable of it. Because it was almost like I saw right through him. And shout out to the young brother. He doing well for himself now. We was doing bids for some rehabbing on the house, and he was one of the contractors that reached out, not even knowing it was us. But like I say, she didn't move on with her life and married with kids and all of that. But I remember that distinctly. Like, soon as he walked through the door, I was like, what the hell going on? And she was like, no, he don't act nothing like you. And I'm like, man, even my wife was like, yeah, he act just like you. That's crazy. Especially at that age. And so I think sometimes, whether purposely, like consciously or not consciously, women and men date people who are similar to what they've seen in a relationship be. And so men will, unless they had like a detrimental relationship with their mother, and sometimes even when they did on some dysfunctional stuff, they date women like their mother, and women in the same degree. And so if you see your father constantly disrespecting your mother, what you gonna tolerate as you start going out and about relationships? Because if all you've seen is your father, the man who brought you into this world, love and take care of you, and he there for you, but if all you've seen is him knock your mother upside the head, when a dude knock you upside the head, how you gonna decipher whether or not that's something that you should tolerate or shouldn't tolerate? If you saw the woman who was always there for you, who was your idol, if you seen her tolerate that, what you gonna tolerate?
Right. And
it take a lot to understand this isn't what I should tolerate if that's what you watched your mother tolerate her whole life.
Right.
And the same thing with your father. If your father treats your mother a particular way, then that may be your expectations of what men are supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier too, is like, I think that to that point about like being a burden, I think that, women have been put in a position where they're the leaders of the homes, no matter what. And they have to deal with a lot of stuff, and they have to do it with a smile. And, and if they're raising boys, those boys, they see their mom going through. And, but they still get to feel like they are the most important thing in the world too, because that's her job as their mom. And then they grow up, and then they forget that they're growing up and they're getting older, and they're not those little kids. And as much as you would like for a woman to hold some of the attributes that your mom has, like, this woman is not your mom. And so they get on the back and they ride her like a horse and they just be that burden, because that's, and I don't even I don't know. I can't speak to intention entirely. I don't know if they intend to do that, but I think that that's probably where some of that expectation or mindset comes from, because they have seen mom just kind of put everything on the back and go. They've been raised by a burdened mom. Exactly. And so what's the difference with their woman being burdened? It's almost like that's what it's supposed to be. She's supposed to be yelling and screaming, hollering, cussing and fussing. She's supposed to be, but at the same time, she gonna yell, scream, holler, cuss and fuss. But see, that's one of the things that I tell people, listen, I'm not yelling, screaming, hollering, cussing and fussing without your ass around, and I'm not finna be doing it with you around. I don't have to do that with my kids, so for sure I'm not doing it with you. Like, that's what I be telling people. And so, but there's a lot of women who they do. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with somebody once. Oh gosh, I'll never forget this. Recently, we were in the back chats talking, and I was on the phone, and my son, he's 7. He came in the room and he was saying something to me, and I responded back to him, and the person on the phone was like, "Whoa, were you talking to your daughter?" And I was like, "No, I was talking to my son." And then he goes, "So why did you talk to him like that?" And I was like, "What you mean?" He's like, he wasn't an MF. Like, you didn't cuss at him. You didn't yell at him. You didn't, like, and then eventually was telling me that I was making the boy miss out on imperative parts of childhood because I wasn't doing it. And I was like, but they expect this yelling and screaming and cussing and fussing, to go on, but then also turning around and having to love on them and having to pour into them. And I think that that's where this sort of dysfunctional expectation comes from in a way. I could be wrong about that, but it that's kind of part of what, outside of just kind of seeing some of these things, I think it's like the interaction that they have with their mom that they ultimately end up expecting from their partners.
Yeah, it can be a negative or a positive. If you've seen healthy encounters and healthy conflict resolution with your parents, it can instill you the ability to have that. And if you've seen a dysfunctional situation with your parents, then you may just I don't want to say instinctually, but
subconsciously,
almost
maybe
subconsciously be drawn to that same type of dynamic.
Right.
Let me ask you this, because you've had encounters with the conscious community, I'm sure, especially in these back chats. And I think it's a twist on the gender dynamic when it comes to the back chats. A lot of elements like Afrocentric identity, spirituality, be it Cometicism, Yoruba traditions, metaphysics, etc., Pan-African ideologies, historical narratives about the Black family structure. And then I think this creates a unique dynamic in that you have this divine masculine, divine feminine language used to justify this hierarchy that some individuals try to set up. But you also have selective historical references used to support modern gender roles, right? So gender debates seem wrapped in like cultural and spiritual language. You got some uplifting like the community and saying that men and women need to move in unison, but then you have others who weaponize it from a cultural standpoint to kind of elicit control. But what's your thoughts on that dynamic, just in terms of the conscious community and how you see the gender and feminine, masculine roles, so to speak, being examined through that lens?
Well, much like you've mentioned, I've definitely seen from the less identified, like the ones who just say conscious. Oh gosh, I hope that this don't open a can of worms. So
open it up.
Look, I got PTSD. No, but the people that I've noticed that identify as just conscious, they are more of the hostile and like misogynistic ones. Like a lot of what they tend to gravitate to is the more dominant, like in order to have the hierarchy is through the taking of the power. Like they want to be the dominant that way. And so it's through the subjugation of the woman. And it's interesting to me because oftentimes I also see that those particular people don't seem to have the emotional capacity to even hold that space the way that they want to. They have the desire, but they can't seem to hold the space like emotionally the way that that they would need to, for the type of pressure, especially that they put on themselves. There are as far as I've only seen one guy who's Pan-African, he seems like he has a pretty good idea he seems like a pretty balanced person, but I haven't gotten to talk to him too much. And you know, like there are some people like in the comedic world, you know, like they have the idea of like the woman, they respect the masculine, the feminine, and the child, and you know, they understand this dynamic. I don't know how well executed it is. You just kind of see it that where I basically what it comes down to me is like it seems like a lot of things sound good, but when it comes to the application, it kind of falls short in those spaces. If I'm being honest, if I'm being truly honest, the most well balanced guys that I've come across they're Christians. they're Christians or Bible believing. You know, so shout out to them. You know, and that's not to say that there ain't no weirdos up in there. You know what I'm saying? But the men who I see.
I gotta drop a bomb for my fellow Christian brothers. Shout out to the super team, Alfredo, Byron, you know what I mean, Walter, Nobody, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying that we ain't flawed, but I'm just saying shout out to the brothers. That's all.
Yeah, there's been a lot of guys. I can name some more. We got Zakaria, we got Mike, we got like Timothy is the Diz, but you know, he out there, you know, like I've seen some really good. That's one of the things that I must say, that even though there's been a lot of crazy.
Big Hemi out there.
Drop the bombs in. So yeah, like you know, there's some guys that, like I said, I've been able to see, and I even share this with some of the people that I'm talking to, like that I've been able to see that even though we say men, you know, we might get into that men ain't shit thing, but like I've been able to see some really good examples, and I've been able to have conversations. Shout out to DMG, the infamous DMG. I've been able to have some conversations. You know,
I gotta drop a bomb for my damn self.
You know, and so you know, like so, I've been able to see that there is some balance, and that even though it can be a little bit difficult to from where we standing to see, because it is a lot of crazy that go on, and we know that negative seems to outweigh or take up more space than a positive, but that's how it feels. But like when you really like step back and like really sort through and look at it, like you can really see some good that should keep you hopeful, inspired, that there are some decent men out there. You know,
no doubt.
Yeah. But I've just, you know, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, it seems like the ideas, or there's a desire to have these things in place and run. I think that's a common thing that I can say is at least the desire is there. I just think that the application or being able to make it practical is what's sort of eluding some of them. It's a little off them, you know. So that's what I'll say to that.
Gotcha. So let me see real quick, because I do want to touch on this. What's the I guess the core tension in terms of, as you kind of look at it from an examination standpoint, I call it like a healing versus performance in terms of masculine and feminine. Like at the heart of the modern debate is the question of are we using gender conversations to heal or to posture? And so, in my opinion, just my opinion, healing requires accountability on both sides, nuance, historical context, slavery, mass incarceration, systemic pressures, etc., as well as emotional maturity. But then you have, you know, viral clips, gender war, entertainment, talking point battles, personal trauma projected as universal truth. I think a lot of people got a problem with that last one. Using personal trauma and projecting that as universal truth. I see homeboy in the chat, Bad Hombre, obviously he didn't had a personal trauma, but he projected as universal truth. I think that's a problem on both sides. What's your opinion on that as it relates to healing versus performance and some of the things I just laid out in terms of accountability on both sides, emotional maturity, historical context versus viral clips, gender war, entertainment, talking point battles, and personal trauma projected as truth?
You know, I think that you can, like you said, like I think that cream always rises to the top, like you said. And I think that you'll start to be able to distinguish those people who are just posturing, like you said, like they're saying all these things. I mean, we saw that with Derrick Jackson, you know, and how that, I don't know if everybody knows who that is, but the guy, you know, but he was big for, you know, going around and putting all this content out towards women and how, you know, what type of dudes to look out for. And then turns out that he was putting his wife through some stuff whole time, you know? And so, and that ended up being publicly exposed. But I think that, you know, especially in this world of content creation, you know, everybody just trying to get a hot take, everybody trying to get a click, a view, a share, a like, a comment. They always trying to get all that stuff. Speaking of all those things, if you have them, drop them down there, you know, in the chat. But you know, like there's a lot of people who are looking for that, you know, and so I feel like that's where that sort of disingenuous thing, and then it starts to perpetuate this lie to themselves that they actually are who they are pretending to be. And ain't no telling how long they've been pretending in the first place. They might actually even believe that that's who they are until somebody comes along and tells them, hey, something, or, you know, challenge them in a way that they didn't expect to be challenged. And now you're being able to see parts of them that they thought they got over, or they thought that you know, people say the whole lie that time heals all wounds. And so they just kind of carrying on still being wounded, but they've just learned the proper things to say. Some people weaponize therapy and therapy talk. And so they might go and they go for a little bit, and now all of a sudden they think that they can, they want to share these ideas, whether, you know, then you got some people that are just scorned and they are perpetuating that as if that's how everybody is, you know, so there's that. But I think that if there's true healing, I feel like it's such a private thing. I feel like it's such an intimate thing. Like I don't think you're as quick to share it because it's not for anybody else. And then as you kind of heal, and then it starts to overflow out of you. And when it starts to come out of you for real, it looks like something, it's something totally different than anything you've ever seen before. You don't talk the same. You don't, you know, like your perspective starts to shift, because when you're wounded, it's very fight or flight. It's very survival mode, you know, and so you are very short-sighted. But when you're healing, I feel like it's your sights. You know, they say the blinders come off, like your sights is just like all of a sudden you can see further and wider than you could before. And so your perspective starts to change, and you can empathize more. You can be more of all of those things. You can accept accountability. When somebody gives you a critique, it's a little bit, you know, even if it's an ouch, you like, oh shoot. But I mean, if I can use myself, like I said, this topic came up where, you know, I'm being criticized, I'm being called, you know, and I could have easily, no, I'm not, but fuck you, you know, but I said, you know, well, let's talk about this. Let me see, you know, what the truth is. You know, what is this? I don't know what it means to be a masculine female, you know, so I can, you know, so I feel like it's a more curious space that you go into versus a defensive space. Like, so, you know, I just think it's just a totally different approach that you take when it's coming from an actual true healing. And that don't mean, again, it doesn't mean that you're perfect, and it also don't mean that you're something to play with either, because don't play. But but I think that I hope I answered your question adequately. But that's what I would say. I just think that and that's not even saying that you can't truly heal, because I even think that something like this, what we're doing right now, you're talking from a place where you were once wounded, and you performed from that place. And then I've been wounded, I've gone through things, but there's this thing that you have to do when you have to turn and face. If you actually want to be a more productive person for you first, relationship aside, external relationships aside, for you, then there's just some things you have to turn and face and accept, and deal with that stuff, and then you can share from there. But oftentimes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that I like everything you said, because people think that answers and solutions have to be like a universal thing. That's why I say we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable, and we can have unity without uniformity. Because my experience wasn't your experience, and wasn't my man Vincent Mueller in the chat's experience. And so his truth, that's why I say truth is relative. A lot of people say, no, truth is subjective. No, truth is relative, because if I can't relate to your truth, then it ain't truth to me. It may be your truth, but it's not truth to me. To me, me and my man Neo had a debate. We say a debate, but it was more of a conversation. Who's a better musician? I forget exactly how we worded. A musical artist. It was who's a better musical artist, Michael Jackson or Prince? Neo said Michael Jackson. I said Prince. Now, he said Michael Jackson based on his singing ability, his songwriting ability, his ability to perform and sell records. I said Prince because Prince could play every damn instrument. And he could write songs, compose music, etc. So we had a nuanced conversation about it, and it was kind of dope. But I gave the analogy like this. Listen, I loved Michael Jackson when I was a kid. But as I got older, I gravitated more towards Prince. And, I'm showing my age. I'm talking about the mid-1980s, but into the 1990s. But my point is, Neo's truth is that Michael Jackson is better than Prince as a musical artist. My truth is that Prince is better. And so we don't have to have uniformity in order to get unity. And we can take elements of what you said, elements of what I said, and help find a solution to this, in my opinion, manufactured gender gap. And so that's the next thing I kind of want to talk to you about. Do you think that the masculine versus feminine, or this quote unquote gender war, is something that happened organically? In other words, because of the circumstances, because of what men and women were doing, this was inevitable? Or do you think it was manufactured with a particular purpose in mind? I happen to feel like it's the latter, but I'd love to get your opinion on it.
I think that it's a little bit of both. I do think that the Black family specifically was attacked, and there was like some forced separation and disunity created there, like just throughout historical events, that could definitely lead to difficulties in understanding how to actually have harmony in a relationship, because of the circumstances that existed and that plagued our people, and things like that. I think, but usually when I think about I don't know how this is gonna go either. So when I think about like post-slavery, right? When everybody's coming out and people are getting searching for their families, getting their families back. More people are having families leading up to now, and I think that there's, because of all the ripping and tearing apart that was going on before, then I think that we just didn't know how to have relationship with each other. Once you've been ripped apart and then you get put back together, you're happy to be back together, but you don't know how to exist together anymore. Or did you even know how to fully exist together in the circumstances that existed before in the first place because of what that was, And so I don't think that, at least in Black America, we had the opportunity to really cultivate relationship with each other like other people may have, And so then it only leaves the option to sort of fantasize about what that might look like, and then or use the nearest example, which would be white folks, and how they did family and relationship, which I don't think they like each other all that much, And so those type of things sort of kind of, I think, get trickled down into what we think relationship is supposed to be. And so now that leads up to now, where all the damage has been done and we're in the circumstances that we're in. And we're trying to figure out how to coexist. And so the man versus woman thing is, I think, an effort to, a true effort to resolve it. Men want to be heard, women want to be heard. A woman wants to be loved, a man wants to be loved, but then you have the societal standards and norms and things like that that are being put on us to say that what we're supposed to expect and how we're supposed to act and behave and think towards different things. And I think that just kind of is the circumstances now. And I would that's the other reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because I was curious about whether or not these societal norms were doing more damage, because we're not looking at each other as two humans. We're looking at, like, you're supposed to be this masculine man according to society, and you're supposed to be this feminine woman according to society, under this, I'm going to say it, patriarchal umbrella that was put forth by the white man and and his woman. And that might not work for us. You know what I'm saying? We're a different people. And so I think that if we looked at each other as who we are, then we could probably, I think it would heighten the chances of us being able to make more ground with each other. But I think that the masculine versus woman, the man versus woman thing is, I think, at least I'm going to speak for the women, an effort to close that gap.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Did
I answer your question? I want to make sure.
No, yeah, you did, 100%, 100%. And I think, though, like I said, I agree with you for the most part. I think that it's been more manufactured than it has been organic. I think the fact that women, Black women in particular, have been able to get more education and thus more higher paying jobs, part of it's a certain level of insecurity and resentment that was played upon by other elements, I say. And I think that that's led us to where we are now. Part of that has been to me, where I feel like the manufactured gender war, gender gap has taken place. Step into the light, said DMG, no lie, Sojourner Truth talked about those types of men in the 1800s. Yeah, Sojourner Truth got a poem that says, "Ain't I a woman?"
Mm-hmm.
And she talk about all these things. This is the 1800s now. A former slave, by the way, talks about all these things that women do. And it was, when I first read it, I was like, damn, like it moved me so much because my grandmother was a powerful Black woman, and that's who raised me. And then I married another powerful Black woman. So when I hear Black men talk a particular way about Black women, I can't help but feel away. I ain't saying Black women are perfect. All I'm saying is they perfect for me, in particular, my wife. And so it's always disconcerting to hear Black men talk about Black women in a particular way based on a few experiences they had. Because I give them that they may have had more than one experience, but I don't think it's enough to superimpose those experiences over every other Black woman.
Right.
Because y'all too diversified for that.
Right.
That being said, I do think it's been a concerted effort to put a wedge between Black men and Black women, whether it was through how much more Black women have become educated, how much more they make, the idea that, you know, Black women are saying that we independent. I don't need a man, but I want a man. See, some people get offended when a woman, a Black woman in particular, says they don't need a man. See, you good with me when you say you want one. You ain't gotta need me. But the fact that you want me is good for me, because once you say you want me, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make you need me. So and see, need is a funny thing, because if you want something bad enough, you start to feel like you need it. And so all you got to do is want me, and I'll do the rest. But I feel like men then got lazy. Like if you know your woman is in a particular kind of job, and whether it's the housekeeper or the executive, if you happen to be home before her, the bathwater should be ran. You should be willing to rub them feet and massage them shoulders. But we done got lazy. And so we lack the ability to show our women the proper appreciation. Look, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make my woman feel like she the only woman I've ever seen in my life. Whether it's rubbing her feet, massaging her back. We bought a massage table. So we got massage Mondays every Monday, because we starting a new week, a new work week.
Let me write this down so when I get my relationship, I can say I need a massage Monday, damn it.
Yeah, hey, my men out there, take notes. Every Monday is massage Monday.
I'm gonna blame you. I'm gonna tell them that you did this. I'll be like, I got this from my brother DMG.
I'm Black to them. Tell them to holler at their boy, because I can get them in the right direction. See, don't nobody want to make themselves. Everybody complain about being replaced, but don't nobody want to make themselves irreplaceable. So I ain't finna complain about being replaced, because I'm gonna make myself irreplaceable. Every Monday, I'm breaking out that massage table, I'm lighting them scented candles, and I'm bringing out that oil, and I'm gonna rub her down until she ready to go to sleep or she ready to do something else. Period. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I watched on how to give a sensual massage, because I wanted to make myself irreplaceable. Stop worrying about getting replaced and just make yourself irreplaceable. That's my ultimate advice to brothers when it comes to dealing with sisters. We got to meet sisters where they at. If she in whatever job, like I said, it can be the housekeeper or it can be the executive, because physical strain and mental strain ain't no different. Mm-hmm. So whether she the executive who got to think to the point of exhaustion, or she a housekeeper that's moving her body to the point of exhaustion, you got to be a refuge for her. And if you become that refuge, you ain't got to worry about all the small stuff. See, if you got any kind of work ethic, the money gonna take care of itself. As long as you're able to pay your bills and take care of your responsibilities, a woman gonna have your back. She don't really let's keep it a bean. If women is checking for how much you make versus what you willing to do from within a legal framework, what you willing to do to make sure her needs is met, then you're dealing with the wrong woman. Mm-hmm. See, I ain't. If a woman start off by asking me what I make, I'm gonna move to the next table. What you need to be asking me is what I'm willing to do to make you happy. Because if it's financial, if it's physical, if it's whatever, then you just need to know I'm willing to do it. Period. And then you give me an opportunity to demonstrate that, because you can't take a nigga word for it. A nigga like this ain't talk is cheap. You got to give him an opportunity to prove it. If he prove it, you in good shape. If he don't prove it, then you understand he didn't pass the vetting process. Mm-hmm. Period. But when you start off asking me how much I make, then the conversation over. What you need to ask me is, on a scale from 1 to 10, what are you willing to do to make me happy? Period. And if a man wants to be in your life, yeah, it's as simple as that. I think happiness trumps financial security, because in today's world, if a woman wants financial security, she can get it on her own. But can she get happiness on her own as it relates to having companionship? Okay. And you got to be willing, if she looking for happiness as it relates to companionship, then you got to be willing to go to whatever length you need to do that. But like I said, men then got lazy.
And let me just say real quick, because I don't want it to be off anybody in the audience, because I know that a lot of it is coming from a masculine point of view to what basically, because to me, that's masculinity, is like, that's the accountability and stuff that you're talking about. But at the same time, I do believe that it's all vice versa. Everything that's being said is all vice versa. So I don't really have a lot to say on the feminine side, because I really truly feel like all of the things that you're saying about this whole man applies to a whole woman. Like, she should be upholding him, caring for him, taking care of him, being generous with him, all the things as well. So the lady is not excluded from this.
No, not at all. Because the same thing, like, look, if I get in the bed and I groan the wrong way, I ain't even gotta ask her. My wife on that shoulder, she on my back. Like, you good? You need me to break out the tap? So you need me to run you some bath water? So yeah. I think it 100% go both ways. I'm speaking from a manly perspective because I'm a man. Right. But it definitely go both ways. One of the first things, like when I'm on my way to the crib, first thing my wife do is, hey, you ate? Today was one of them days I ain't eat nothing. I drank a lot of water and I love like sweet tea. So I was like, nah, I just been drinking all day. I ain't even get a chance to go to lunch. Mm-hmm. And she was like, so what you want? And, before I got here, my food was here.
Right.
Look things like that. Just taking people into consideration, taking their needs into consideration is sometimes the most masculine or feminine thing that you could possibly do for somebody. So I think that both these conversations, everything I'm saying, go is vice versa.
Right.
I'm just giving y'all my perspective because as a man, I'm just speaking on what I think men should do. And again, it's my opinion. Now, take into account that it's based on 28 years of marriage and counting. And last I checked, my wife was telling me, I need you. I can't do this without you. Just this past weekend. So she ain't planning on going nowhere, and neither am I. So it's something to be said about experience. See, I can have all the opinions I want to, but have my opinion been earned? See, people flap out their gums and say, that's just my opinion. But what is your opinion based on?
Based on what?
Right. My opinion is based on trial and error over 30 plus years of being in a relationship. 3 years before we started dating in 94, we got married in 97. So that's what my opinion is based on. And my wife is happier than she'd have ever been, and we almost 50 years old. So take that for what you will. But everybody's situation ain't my situation. I think the benefit that I have over a lot of men is I've been a man who wasn't worthy of his woman, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to become worthy, and I was able to do that. I think if most men was faced with losing a good woman who they know was a good woman, who they know loved them unconditionally and hadn't showed them nothing but admiration, respect, and unconditional love, and now they looking down the barrel of losing that, they would have the same perspective I got. But I don't think a lot of men have been pushed to that point where they was forced to make positive changes in order to keep intact what they held most dear. And so even though I regret the decisions that led to me having to do that, I'm glad that I did. I wouldn't change a thing because I wouldn't have the desperate type of motivation that I have to make sure my wife know she the most important thing in the world to me. But my goal is to reach brothers so they don't have to get to that point. And so everything I say, you take with that into account, that I'm trying to help y'all not get to the point that I had to get to where I almost lost a good thing. And if I can help you recognize what you got without having to make those mistakes, then I did my job. And the same thing with sisters. Sometimes you have to, if you're not happy in a relationship for whatever reason, but you love that individual and you can see a future with them, sometimes you have to let them understand what it's like not to have you available. You have to make them understand that this can go away in order for the light bulb to go off. Sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. But that's a risk you have to be willing to take to get to the level you want to get to with a person. There's a lot of women in long-term relationships, dude won't marry her. Take you off the menu and see. Yeah, it make yourself unavailable and see if the light bulb go off. If it don't go off, then you understand that that wasn't for you. If it do go off, then now you can figure out a way to move forward. It's all about assessing what you want and what your expectations are. And again, if you important to a man, he gonna make whatever adjustment he need to make to keep you in his orbit.
That's right. So, and I wanted to real quick before I forgot, because I didn't want to leave my boy out, Darian. Shout out to Cannon. Like he definitely did help me kind of sort through some of these ideas, and he helped me come up with he's the person that he's the person that I talked to and chopped it up with when I came up with this and said, hey, this is the idea that I'm throwing out and I want to throw out to DMG. And he's the one who helped me sort of kind of vet through these ideas and, gave me helped me get the direction. And he's also somebody who talks very highly of his wife and his family, and he takes his role as a man in his household very seriously. And so I respect him a lot as well.
No doubt. Shout out to the best host on YouTube, my brother Cannon. So yeah, I just think that, for me anyway, my opinion is that men have to take accountability for, Black men in particular have to take accountability for the situations we put Black women in before we start just complaining about them. Because if you're not examining what Black women then had to endure at the hands of Black men, then I don't think you should be opening your mouth to critique them. Now, I think, because let's take a lot of the things that some of these men complain about Black women about. They aggressive and they argumentative and they insecure. How did they get that way? Mm-hmm. Could it be that she watched grandmama endure a toxic relationship? Then she watched mama. Simultaneously, she watching auntie endure a toxic relationship. And then she find herself and her sister in toxic relationships. And when she get the strength to break away from that toxic relationship, she end up in another one. Because she keep giving brothers a chance. And she end up in another one. And another one. And then after so many toxic relationships with Black men, she decide, F them. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty. I'm nice looking. I got a nice body. Yeah, I got 3 kids, but I'm just gonna get what I can get out of these suckers. Now, because she traumatized because of her history with these brothers, now you end up getting traumatized because even though you a decent brother and you mean well, you not taking into accountability what she's had to endure. So when you see her calling and you just look at your phone and you put it up because you with your boys and she start yelling and screaming where you was at and what was you doing, you gotta understand what she's been through. Have these conversations before you embark on a serious relationship. Ladies do the same thing. Because
there's simply not enough conversation happening before getting into these relationships.
It's just not enough conversations, because if you had these conversations, then if the person being honest, then you kind of understand what to expect and you can sort of alleviate that out of the gate. Hey, I don't really be checking my phone like that. I don't like texting for what, just call me or whatever, but I don't really be responding to text like that. That little statement can alleviate a bunch of drama because she didn't text you 5 times, you ain't paid no attention to it, and now she wondering what you doing, why you ain't answering, etc. And you thinking in your mind, why the hell you ain't call?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So we can save ourselves a lot of drama just by opening our mouths.
Yeah.
So I just think men and women, especially as we get up in age, got to understand you're not the first encounter that this woman have had with men, and she not your first encounter. And if you don't take those encounters into perspective, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because you can have a good woman with good intentions who you can move forward with. But because you didn't take her previous encounters into consideration, her previous hurt, her insecurities as a result of that, since you ain't take them into account, you do things to trigger her, whether you do it on purpose or not. Like I said,
they just say, that's not my problem. I didn't do that. Don't be trying to hold me accountable to what the last dude did. That's what's said.
And while she shouldn't put something on you that you didn't do, just like you gonna take into consideration her past. Because here, like, if she tell you, let's just say, like, we're gonna get into some grown folk talk right quick. Shout out to the Diabolical Divas. They got a show coming out pretty soon called Divas After Dark, where we're gonna get into some grown folk talk. Again, nothing raunchy, but we're gonna get into some grown folk talk, and that's what I'm about to do right now. If she tell you, like, y'all talking and y'all engaging in conversation, and she tell you, yeah, like, my baby daddy had a 12-incher, and you know you only working with 7.5. You gonna hold her accountable for having told you that. If you don't get her to the end of her journey, for lack of a better term, it's gonna play in your mind. So you gonna hold her accountable for the conversation. So let's just have those conversations, because now, and I'm simply saying that we sometimes pick and choose what kind of conversations we engage in. Like, again, that's something that's more than likely gonna be revisiting and replaying in a brother head. But when she tell you, hey, I got a thing about if I text you or if I call you, just hit me back, because when my baby daddy or when my ex used to do that, I come to find out he was with another chick. She giving you the juice, as my man Hemi would say. She giving you the ammunition and the fuel to understand, listen, if she called me, let me go ahead and pick up. It ain't to emasculate you. It's actually to empower you.
Yes.
Because guess what? After a few times of you picking up, yeah, baby, I'm at the bar with the homie. I'm at the gym. I'm at work. I'm just getting ready to leave work. I'm at such and such. I'm about to get something to eat. You want some? After a few times of that, she ain't gonna even feel the need to call you no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you've rebuilt her confidence. You've repaired that old wound. That's why she told you, when you don't pick up when I call, it remind me of what homeboy used to do. But right. You ignore that because I'm a man. Don't be calling to me and trying to figure out where I'm at. But if she tell you boy had a 10-incher and you only got 4, as soon as you feel like you ain't measuring up, that's gonna be a conversation.
That part. And then it's gonna be go back to your ex then.
Yeah, exactly. See, we pick and choose what we want to hear and what we don't want to hear.
Yeah.
We pick and choose what we want to hold over somebody's head and what we don't want to. Men, listen to one of the most masculine things you can do is listening to your woman. And like really listening, not just nodding your head while she talking, while you listening to my man, my shout out to the Godfather. You listening to Sinetta debate and just nodding your head while her mouth moving. I mean, actually listen to her. Mm-hmm. You'll be surprised what you miss in the course of a conversation. A woman gonna tell you exactly what she want from you, indirectly or directly. All you got to do is listen. Mm-hmm. If she say 2 nights in a row how bad her feet hurt, if you don't get down on your knees and rub them feet, you are a fool. She telling you what she need. Mm-hmm. When she pull them heels off, talking about how bad her feet hurt, she need them feet rubbed. When she rubbing her, I don't know what's wrong with my shoulder. I don't know what I did. If you don't break out that coconut oil and get the rubbing her down, you a fool. Like, it ain't hard to pick up on signs. It ain't no different. It ain't no different than when you get to talking about how good she looked and whatever she decided to go to sleep in. She know what time it is. You know what time it is. When she say she had a long day and this happened at work and that happened at work, that means she need to talk. She need an ear.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't one of her girlfriends because she's saying it to you.
Right.
So just strap in, sit down, and ask what happened.
That's it.
And let her decompress. And if you got to make a cup of tea or whatever you got to do, just settle in and go along for the ride. Women gonna tell you what they need. One of the most masculine things you can do is to hear them. That's all.
Yeah.
And vice versa. See, women communicate, men don't.
Sometimes, because sometimes women think that men are supposed to just know things, and they don't just know things. Everybody been somewhere, every person is different. You might need something that the next woman didn't need or want. And so just be vocal about everything, all the way from the sexual experience, everything. Like, just say it. Just say it.
Yeah. And one of the things that, like, my wife is, she like tools and doing handiwork and all that kind of stuff. I don't. Now, to a lot of people, that's doing the tool thing and buying drills and all that stuff. That's masculine. That's a masculine characteristic. And not being into it is a feminine characteristic. Mm-hmm. And so she would get frustrated because she'd be like, that light need to be fixed or that door need to be fixed. And I legit don't be paying no attention to it. And this way back when, I just wouldn't be paying attention to it. I'm like, man, look, if you notice that, tell me and I'll fix it. But don't think I'm just finna, like, I'm not gonna notice it. Look, I hit the dough. I got, I got to do a show. I got to tend to you. However, I got to tend to you. Talk to my kids, because my kids, we talk each other heads off. But I'm going to do all that. I'm not looking at that need to be fixed, that need to be fixed. But if you notice it, tell me. But she would get frustrated that I didn't just see it. Mm-hmm. And so I either had to change or she had to change. Like, she would either have to tell me or I would have to try to go about noticing it myself. And then we kind of came to
a little middle ground.
A middle ground. Sometimes she tell me, sometimes I try to look around and notice it. Hell, I done got to the point where I tell my son, hey, check the scene. If you see anything need to be tweaked or fixed or whatever, and he'll keep me posted. Mm-hmm. Because I know part of it is her wanting me to take the initiative to just find out myself without her telling me. It's kind of like one of my biggest things is, listen, I'm trying to make love every single night. Now, that ain't practical, and I know it ain't. But when we was younger, she was not. She like, you crazy if you think you finna be jumping up and down on me 24/7. But now that we older, and she understand that that's something I like, listen, I need that. She try to meet me in some kind of way as much as she possibly can. It's a middle ground. It's a give and take. And I think in relationships today, we've lost the art of meeting each other in the middle. And so when we talk about examining masculine and feminine aspects, compromise is a big part of being masculine and being feminine.
And feminine, yes.
So if you're not compromising with the individual who you're trying to build something with, then it ain't no point in you.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. And the same thing kind of go with general conversations with individuals who you may not have a romantic link to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a YouTube channel called The Art of Dialogue, because it's an art to having a dialogue. And it's a particular art to a man having a dialogue with a female versus having a dialogue with a male. I get all up in my chest when I'm talking to a man. Like, I'm super aggressive. It's a whole other energy when I'm talking to a female, unless that female decide to get up in her chest with me. And then, because see, if you open that door, I'm gonna walk through.
We walking through
a certain type of conversation, and vice versa. But for the most part, I'm a lot more laid back in my conversations with women than I am with men. I had a debater who decided to quit. And the reason they decided to quit was fugazi to me. And he a man, and we talked a particular way to each other. On vice versa, I had a sister who decided to quit. My energy was completely different. Right. And so I think it's an art to dialogue, and it's an art to the way men should have dialogue with women versus how we starting to do it now. Right. And I think that people just got to take the time to figure out how to talk to certain individuals, as from a gender standpoint, from a masculine and feminine standpoint, but also from an individual standpoint. The way I had to talk to a particular sister, I may not have to talk to you that way. Me and you may have a much more, hey, I think it's bullshit that you quitting because you lost. Mm-hmm. And you might be like, yeah, but I feel a way about it, and we can be aggressive and then be cool within a couple of hours. But then it's another female who, if I talk aggressive to her, she gonna feel away. Like, why he talking to me like I'm a man? Yeah. So it just depends on the individual you're dealing with.
Right. I totally agree with that. And that was something that I was actually interested in too, is like, because now listen, I'll sit down and I'll talk sensible with anybody who's sensible. Now, where I'm struggling at is the people that do not have their sensibilities. Those are the people that I struggle with. And I don't know if there's a level of somethingness. I don't know if it's a level of femininity or just a level of maturity in general, where I'll get to where I can just allow somebody to get swing on me a little bit and not just be like, all right, you got that. But I have not gotten there yet. I thought that was part of that woman king, thing too. Because when I met you, it was a whole bunch of swinging going on.
Right. Right.
So, but it's just like, I
probably was the only person that didn't take offense to it. I was like, it's just a conversation to me, but a lot of people felt the way, but I was like, it ain't no big deal. I like it. She seemed like a sister who we can have certain conversations, but
yeah, we can talk. But see, a lot of people won't let me, and that's how I knew that there was something different about you. And there's something different about Timotheus. There's like all the guys who are in the boardroom that I talk to every day. All of these different people and personalities that I come across, where these men, I'm the same. I talk the same way with everybody, but there's only certain groups of people, both male and female, that take offense to it, and then they take offense, and then they start talking away, and then now we talking away, and then now I'm a man, now I ain't a woman no more. And so it just kind of go on like that. Now, but I'm thinking but as long as there's a mutual respect, and because like you said, we can disagree respectfully. Like it don't have to be a disrespect. And a lot of times, sometimes I was even on the phone with somebody earlier today, who got on the phone making all types of assumptions about me, just saying all types of things. It was crazy. But you know what? We sat there and I was like, so what made you say that? Where'd you get that from? Well, do you want to ask me a question? Well, let me tell you, you know what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
and I'll go through and I'll have the conversations, but everybody you can't do that with. And so, but I would love to get to a point of just, I guess, evolution, and I'm assuming as a person that for a while I used to think that it was like a feminine thing that I needed to, deal with, but where it just doesn't. Shoot, again, Timothy has done came up a lot of times, but he's a person that be like, listen, these people get to doing all this stuff, and you just don't have to give them nothing back. I want to go there. I want to be there.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to realize. I tell people, my wife that all the time. Some people just ain't worth your energy, male or female.
Yeah. And
that brings me to my last talking point. The big question as far as moving forward, because I think that's the thing. It's been it's become a competitive situation between men and women that's driving a lot of these conversations. Whether it's a woman feeling like, hey, I'm just as capable at my occupation and at my ability to earn, etc., as a man. So this should never be a situation where you're giving a man more respect than you giving me, or that I should give a man more respect than he do. And on the flip side of that, it's some men who believe I'm a man, and as long as I afford and carry myself as such, you should respect me in a particular way. And neither side is wrong per se. I think some things get lost in translation. And so how do we go from competition to cooperation? And how do we go from gender war talking points to actual understanding? And lastly, how do we go from performative healing to real emotional work? Because I think those are the key elements. Moving from a competition to cooperation, getting away from gender war talking points to actually trying to understand where each other is coming from. And then getting away from the performative healing and just saying I'm healed for the sake of saying it. You got brothers who say they went
You
to
healed
therapy.
as long as ain't nothing coming at you.
Yeah. Brothers say he went through therapy, but black women are trash. How do we get from performative healing to real emotional work? So I start with going from competition to cooperation. What's your opinion on how we get to that?
From competition to cooperation, I honestly think that pretty much all of those. I love to tell people to mind their own business. I love the mind your own business mentality. And what I mean by that is I feel like there's so many things that your world consists of as an individual. From your mental health, your beauty, to your finances, to your to your health and fitness, to your children, what that looks like to you. What does it look like to you to be a man, a woman, whichever one you fall into? What is your sexuality? All of those things I feel like are what makes up who you are. And as if you're concerned with who you are in and outside of a relationship, then you will be less competitive because you're not comparing. You don't have to worry about what anybody is doing, especially not your significant other, because hopefully you're doing these things so that y'all's lives can be more cohesive, or an effort of being able to be in more harmony with the person that you're choosing to share life with when these worlds collide. But as an individual, if you are focused on you and making sure that you are who you need to be, as whoever you are, as like I said, a husband, wife, mother, father, whoever, then you don't have to compare and compete. And then I think that just kind of trickles over into the other areas. I think that if you're not, what was the second one exactly?
So the second one was gender war, going from gender war talking points to actual understanding.
Right. I think that the more that you work on yourself and take care of yourself, then you're not comparing, you're not competing as much, and you're like I said, I feel like the more you take care of yourself, the more open your eyes are. The more you see, the more that you're able to understand, empathize, sympathize, and like you said, end up compromising, being more compromising in different situations, or more understanding to those circumstances, whether you've been in them or not. I think that is what empathy is. And then as far as like getting from that performative, looking like you're healed, talking like you're healed, sounding healed, and actually being healed, then again, if you're focusing on what your world consists of, then you don't, it's not based on what anybody else is thinking or saying or whatever, like you would be doing it genuinely.
Exactly.
For you know what I'm saying? And that's what it will come down to. And that's, so I think that I love the mind your own business. I love it. And that's what I boil everything down to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because in minding your own business, what you tend to find out is what you need to do to improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to understand yourself. Not sometimes, but I believe you have to understand yourself before you can look to understand anybody else.
Yeah.
And that trickles over to, in order to love somebody else, you have to love yourself.
Absolutely.
And so you can't loathe yourself or not understand what it is to love yourself in a real way. I ain't talking about because you go to the mall. Like I go to the Polo store probably every week, but that ain't loving myself. That's adorning myself with stuff I like to. Loving yourself is actually being at peace with who you are and what you've been through, and coming to terms with those things and understand that they don't define you.
Right.
Like the trauma that you've been through, it shouldn't define you. Start putting those things in compartments that they go in. Take the things the mistakes you made, and turn those into lessons to tell your children, your nieces, your nephews, your brothers and sisters, so that they don't repeat those mistakes, so they can navigate through a situation where they were leading to making a similar mistake. But turn those mistakes into lessons and understand that nothing you've done in your past should define you. Even the things that you see as positive, because you can continue to evolve and improve upon that. So I would open up the chat, but sis, I got to get up at 4 a.m.
You are perfectly fine.
So I appreciate your time, and this was a great conversation. It was cathartic for me. I hope it was informative for you.
Yes, absolutely.
And the viewers, and let the people know, man, what it is you got coming up, or what you planning on doing. Is on the social media tip.
Well, I'm really getting back into doing my my social media. Like, so I'm on TikTok at Goddess in the Flesh. So like on there, I just kind of I'm a hairstylist. I own a hair salon. I'm also a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach.
Okay.
And so like I share some of the tips, I share some workouts, I do, and then just kind of like different little tips and stuff like that I've used for myself to just kind of sort out my thoughts through the places that I've been and where I'm going. I'm working on a temple series where it's basically like looking at the temple in the Bible and as it relates to us as people and how we can align ourselves with some of the concepts from the temple to the body and how we should expect to treat ourselves and others around us. And so that's something that I'm working on right now. Definitely, like I said, over there in the boardroom. So if there's anybody who's listening who wants to be in a place where it's not chaotic. Some people say that we dry and boring, but we have conversations about stuff. If there's not anything to talk about, we're probably not on there just, you know what I'm saying? And so but there's definitely not a lot of chaos. And so anybody who's interested in just having dialogues that could lead to more profitable or fruitful conversations, definitely hit me up and I could add you to the boardroom. We have some guys that are talking about putting together some presentations to share some of the things that they're super enthusiastic about. And so those are some of the things I'm working on and that we're working on. And so, yeah, you'll see me back here. Like I told you earlier, I got about 12 other ideas already
keep me
that we can
informed.
definitely come up here with.
Listen, family, y'all gonna see the sister up here a lot. I told her she got carte blanche to come up here and speak her speech. So we're gonna do whatever it is that come to mind. And you may see her as an analyst on Debate Center with yours truly or one of the other brothers. So
I'm excited about that.
We want to get that perspective as well. So we got Debate Center coming up Saturday as we preview Saturday's debate between our academic champion, Cedric Ortega, and Takari. I don't know the topic by heart or right offhand, but it's something to the effect of where did man, Homo sapien originate, Africa or Asia? Cedric is saying Africa, Takari is saying Asia. We're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty of who the affirmative and who the negative is before those brothers embark on this contest. But the academic championship is on the line this Saturday, 7:15. So be here for that. I don't know who moderating, me or my man Cannon. Cannon might be having something to do with his queen, so it'll probably end up being me. But we're going to bring that to you this Saturday versus Series Prime. So be here for that. We got the Diabolical Divas with another great show coming up this Sunday. Also, around 4:15 p.m., we got Captain K, Paradigm Shift TV 314 pillar, Captain K, the Gogger boy himself, and Hemi going to be having another conversation, part 2 of that Israelite Conversations with a Christian. Mm-hmm. Next week, family, we got a lot going on as well. We got next Friday, not this Friday, but the next Friday, we got Chris Harris, MVP Chris Harris, making his Versus Series debut as he and Elder Yara, the Black Sage, will be having a face-off to try to determine what they will be debating coming up. That's Elder Yara and MVP Chris Harris, 2 big names within our community. So make sure y'all here for that. And don't forget, at the end of the month, the 28th and the 27th and 28th, we got our next premium live event, The Final Word. Hemi will be taking on Joshua for the Versus Series world title, and Pan will be challenging KOT for the Versus Series social media title. So y'all come on Black and rock with us, man. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. So any last words from the goddess in the flesh, AKA the Woman King?
Oh, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for having this space. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all of the transparency and everything that came along with this conversation. Definitely gave me some things to think about for myself. And so, yeah, I just wanted to shout you out again and just say, keep on doing what you're doing. I see you putting it together, and I'm glad to be a part of what you got going on.
Appreciate it, sis. Definitely appreciate it. Like I said, y'all gonna see more of her. And again, let me shout out the Diabolical Divas for putting together a great show and having some great conversations. Shout out to my man, Captain K. If you haven't seen a conversation with Captain K, make sure y'all go check that out. And if you haven't seen them, I'm going to play a quick preview And after that, the next sounds y'all gonna hear is that of our brother Hemi with Welcome to the Shift. But check out the Diabolical Divas. That's the Woman King, AKA the goddess in the flesh. Amira came to chop it up with us, and y'all gonna be seeing her back again real soon. Salute to you, sis. We appreciate you. Check out this promo from the Diabolical Divas every Sunday at 7:15 Central. And 7:15 Central, right here on Paradigm Shift TV, Ladies Night with your brother DMG. And then next week, I believe starting next week, they can clarify, but next week on Friday at 9:15 Central Time, Divas After Dark, where we get into a little bit more of an adult conversation. And myself or my brother Cannon will be joining them. Hopefully one day we'll get our sister Amira to build with the double D's, as she calls them. I like that nickname.
I love Diabolical Divas, but I love the double D's because I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, it's cute.
No, I like that nickname. So check out the Divas, and then the next sound y'all gonna hear is our brother Hemi. Appreciate you, sis.
All right, peace.
Peace.
My name is my name.
Diabolical divas. Diabolical divas. Diabolical divas. We're the ladies with the tea, spilling truth on every mic. Breaking down the games, men play, yeah, we're calling out the hype. Strong, bold, beautiful, we say what's on our minds. Welcome to Diabolical Divas, where the real talk always shines. Oh, Diabolical Divas, say it loud, say it clear, no fear, no filter. Oh, Diabolical Divas, if it's about men and madness, girl, we're right here. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas. Ay. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas. We're the ladies with the tea, spilling truth on every mic. Breaking down the games, men play, yeah, we're calling out the hype. Strong, bold, beautiful, we say what's on our minds. Welcome to Diabolical Divas, where the real talk always shines. Oh, Diabolical Divas, say it loud, say it clear, no fear, no filter. Oh, Diabolical Divas, if it's about men and madness, girl, we're right here. Diabolical Divas. Diabolical Divas.
I don't got no friends. I don't got no friends. You know what I mean? I got supporters, people on my side and people on the other side.
Welcome to the shift where the whole room blows. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Just you flat, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm like, yo, shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. This that channel that be talking back, energy attack. Iron sharpens iron, watch the whole league react. Competition in the building, better tighten up your facts. We ain't clones, but we still mirror how you crack under impact. Every debater work hard, spot a weak, rap fast. You live wrong, paradigm shift, and break your stance. I'm the judge, the jury, the pen, the contrast. My bars hit always like a quadruple. Buying tired of shift, where the whole room glow. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't all align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. We invite every mind, long as you stand on yours, walking with respect. leave with open doors. Channel stay lit, views jumping off the boards. STL bounce, yeah, the spy from the source. Competitors, welcome, step up, don't fold. We don't fit pressure, we refine under load. Thoughts heavy, we press them till the truth get told. Shift so clean, it feel platinum even when it's gold. Come through correct, bring your logic and your proof. Speak your truth, just don't run from the truth. We debate with grace, that's the paradigm groove. Flow so smooth, even turbulence move. Welcome to the shift where the whole room go. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Where the home go, DMG Bob, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' know. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm life, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Welcome to the shift. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Welcome to the shift. If you black, I'm with you, with you, black, I'm with you. Welcome to the shift. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. Welcome to the shift. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibe, got the city on low. Walk with paradigm shift, keep the road forward.
Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me.